Good day, point spread aficionados. Welcome to gamblersworld.net. We are Winners Circles College Edition, week 16 from Las Vegas, bringing you two of Las Vegas's finest sports handicappers. And Scott Pritchard is here with me, and he is a big-time contest winner and player out here in Las Vegas. Scott's opinion is valued all over the country, particularly among the professionals out here in Las Vegas. I am Chip Chirimbes. Winner's Circle College Edition. Scott, welcome aboard. We've got the big football game, but mostly basketball in store for today.
Well, I'm excited to be on the show. Love you, love the show. So let's rock and roll, my friend.
All right, buddy. You know, one of the things that we talked about earlier on my personal bucket list is to get to an Army-Navy game. And I don't know if I know you've been to a number of Super Bowls, as have I, but this is one event that I haven't personally attended. And, you know, this year there's a lot of interest in these two teams. They both started undefeated, both received their first loss against Notre Dame. Very similar scores, 51-14, 49-14. They've had some other common opponents, but how do you see this one shaping up? It's going to be Army and Navy, with Army being a 6.5-point favorite as it is right now.
It's always so much fun to see these two teams battle it out. I mean, this is their Super Bowl each and every year. Kind of like what I said a couple of weeks ago, Chip, when Michigan takes on Ohio State respectfully. You can just toss out the records, as Ohio State was a 20-point favorite. I released on this show, Michigan plus the 20 points. Certainly didn't think that they would win the game straight up. But the same thing applies here, my friend, because when Army takes on Navy, this is something that they have been looking at 12 months in advance. Right. Army, the fact that they've been world beaters the entire year, it seems that they would win every week, and not only win, but win convincingly and ultimately cover the number at a high rate. Army, as you said, a 6.5-point favorite in this contest. When in doubt, take the points. I'm not in doubt. Take the points.
Right.
6.5 with Navy. I see value there. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out contest. I respect Army, but give me Navy plus the points.
All right, you know, Scott, you're a totals guy for the most part. I mean, I know in the RJ contest and the college selection, for the most part, you predominantly use totals. This game's gone over the total once in the last 10 years, and 17-11 last year was the final. Army wins a game with a total of 259 total offensive yards. Do you see any difference this year, or do you think it's still going to be one of those, they're going to slobber knock each other every play?
I pick my spots, spot my picks, and I try not to pick my nose. Though that 10-1 over the last 11 years, these players had nothing to do with that. I do not have an opinion on the total, but I do like the points. And to your point, I do tend to lean on totals more than point spreads, but in this specific contest, I like the points.
Well, I do as well. I'm leaning toward Navy. And, you know, if you look at common opponents, Scott, they both played Air Force, with Navy winning 34-7 and Army winning 20-3. Notre Dame, they both played. I told you the scores. They both got annihilated. It was the first defeat for each of them when they played Notre Dame. And then Tulane. Last week, Army destroyed Tulane 35-14, and Navy had been annihilated by the Green Wave 35-0. I was surprised this number was so strong at 6.5 with this rivalry, but I think that last game and the last week had a lot of influence on why the line is where it is. All right, before we get to college basketball, and we've got a plethora of games out there for you, Scotty, we're going to put you out to the task here. But first, give us a like, subscribe, share the program. We're here every week. College basketball will be coming up each and every week, and we're going to finish the bowl season with college football. And as a reminder, with gamblersworld.net, where you can find Scott's winners and my winners posted on a daily basis. And I do mean we post winners. Don't miss Gamblers World's daily podcast with Sean Higgs. They have Doug Upstone, Brian Bittler, Matt Fargo, Mark Lawrence, and they're all here giving their opinions. These are experts in their field. These are professional sports handicappers. And for the most part, like Mr. Pritchard here, they put their money on the line at the window each and every week. So log on, follow the buy links, and become a big-time gamblersworld.net winner. Scott, college basketball, I love it. I've been won a few contests involving it, and on a great streak personally right now at gamblersworld.net. I've won, like, I think it was 18 out of the last 21. Xavier, not Xavier, but Xavier is going to Cincinnati. Not a long trip whatsoever. But it's an interesting matchup because Xavier at 8-2, Cincinnati at 7-1. These two are arch rivals. I mean, they really there've been a lot of incidents in their games, or there's been fights, and of course, the different types of problems have broke out. But Musketeers and Bearcats. Do you know what a Bearcat is?
Can't say that I do.
I don't think it exists. It's sort of like a Seahawk. There's no such thing. But Xavier's won the last 5 against the 2 and covered 7 of the last 10. Cincinnati's gone, only 2 of their 8 games have gone over the total this year. How do you see this one?
Well, you said that these two teams are a bit of a rival, a bit of a bitter, right? There's no love lost between these two teams, geographically speaking. I have to say, you have 15 wins, 3 losses between these two teams, but it's a bit of a fool's gold because these two teams have racked up a lot of wins playing weak sisters.
Right.
I mean, Xavier, the fact that they have won 8 of 10, the one team that they did have to play that was very respectable was Michigan, and they lost by 25 points. And then you look at Cincinnati. Yeah, the good news is they're 7-1. The bad news is coming off the one game that they had to play against a formidable opponent, they lost at Villanova. So if you're asking me to pick a winner in this contest, I'm going to go with Cincinnati to knock off Xavier, but I'm not impressed with either team. But I do like the fact that these two teams do not like each other, and the place will be rocking and rolling.
All right, I have Cincinnati as a small favorite here. They're a 2-point power rating favorite, which I was kind of surprised to see. And yet they'll have the home court advantage there. So maybe a line to be 3.5, 4.5 in around there. And Scott, the totals between these two teams, Cincinnati's gone over twice out of 8 times, and Xavier's only twice out of 9 games. So maybe that's something to look at. Very interesting contest again. Intersectional. We have Southeast Conference Alabama hosting Creighton, and Creighton, of course, Sean. Excuse me. You know what? That's because I'm always dealing with Sean Higgs. But Scott, Creighton always seems to start slow and then come on and get better as the season goes on. They're 7-3 right now, only covered 3 of their 10 games. And Alabama, they've been ranked as high as I think number 4 or 3 or 4. They're 7-2 on the year. They've lost to Oregon. We had Oregon was one of our big plays last week. This Creighton is 3-0 lifetime against Alabama, but that's over a period of time. Their 3 losses been to Texas A&M, San Diego State, Nebraska. You think Creighton comes up big against Alabama here?
I don't. Alabama, the fact that they are a very good rebounding team, they grab about 43, 44 rebounds per game. And as Pat Riley used to say, you cannot win championships without being a very good rebounding team. Rebounds equal rings. And he also said that you don't actually get a defensive stop until you grab the defensive rebound. So Alabama, the good news for them, they are a good rebounding team. As you said, they're 7-2, ranked 7th in the country at this point. And they've been winning by an average of about 11 points per game, 89 points, giving up only 78. Conversely, Creighton, I mean, I respect Creighton, 78 points per game, only giving up 68. They've won 7 of 10, but I lean on the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
Yeah, and I could see why. I mean, they should come up about 5.5-point favorites, maybe even stronger, depending on public opinion and the bookmakers' opinion. Now we've got a great one in store here for you, Scott. I'm going to have to, I think you got to go to the courts and change your name legally. I mean, that's what we should do here. Auburn, number 2 in the nation right now, is going to play Ohio State, who's at 6-3. But Ohio State always comes up with some big wins. I haven't been impressed with them this year, but they beat Texas. And they went to Rutgers and beat Rutgers, and yet they've lost to Pitt, to Maryland, to A&M. Kudos to them for playing a decent schedule at the beginning of the year. But Auburn are 8-1, 7-2 against the number. Their one loss was to Duke. It was a power play that we put out at gamblersworld.net. And they've beaten North Carolina, Iowa State, and Houston, not to be underrated. Houston, one of the better teams out there. I think you got to make Auburn a small favorite at Ohio State here, don't you?
I do. And the reason is, they played some world beaters in the Maui Invitational. My buddy Matt Humans from VEASAN, he was at the Maui Invitational. And I asked him on TV, I said, hey, who were you most impressed with? And he said, without hesitation, Auburn. And you had mentioned that, Auburn did lose to Duke. I believe it was 84-78, a 6-point contest. So they were right there. The fact is they win by an average of 20 points per game. They score 87 points a game. They give up about 67. But Ohio State, I've learned in the past, man, this is a winning team, a winning organization, great leadership. And as you have mentioned, they have played some really good competition. So they might be better than their 6-3 record. They win by an average of about 16 points per game, 82 points per contest, only giving up 66. But I like Auburn to win this game.
All right, Sean. Sure. All right, Scott. You are one of the premier players in the Circa contest, and every Friday I get to listen to you on the VSiN radio broadcast, and let everyone know out there that you can get that online and maybe be able to hear some more of Scott's insights as to his selections on the football right now for the weekend. Scott, big game, UCLA going to Arizona. They play every year, and Arizona's been a disappointment so far this season, quite unexpectedly, only 4-4. And yet defense has brought the Bruins to 8-1 at this point.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that the UCLA Bruins are sound defensively, because I love the teams that play defense. I don't care what sport it is. Defense wins championships. No, I didn't just make that up. I did not originate that. But the UCLA Bruins, the fact is, how good defensively are they? Pretty good. Number one in the country, 55 points per game is all they yield. They're currently ranked 24th in the country. Arizona, conversely, average at best, a pedestrian 4 wins, 4 losses. And how do you not go with the Bruins here? The fact that they've won 8 of 9, the fact that they play great defense. And let me remind our viewers that they're number 3 in the country in forcing turnovers, 18 plus turnovers per game. And Chip, you know as well as anyone, transition baskets, turnovers lead to points. So I like the Bruins.
All right, characteristically, the Bruins have only gone over twice in their 9 games. We've seen defense is the key for them. And Arizona's gone over 6 of 8, so defense isn't so strong then. Listen to the teams that Arizona's lost to: West Virginia, Oklahoma, Duke, and Wisconsin. Of course, those are formidable foes, but sometimes you got to beat some of these teams. You just can't schedule them. And Arizona this year seems to be off the mark, and they got a way to go, that's for sure. UCLA lost to New Mexico, and who isn't all that bad, really, Scott. And since then, they've won 7 in a row, including an A-play winner over Oregon, 73-71. All right, final game. This is one of my most interesting ones. And by the way, don't forget to give us a like, and you can sit and subscribe and share this show. We have Scott with us, and he's giving you the insights from Las Vegas, from one of the sharpest college handicappers in the country. I, of course, myself, Chip Chirimbes, have won my own share of college handicapping contests out here in Las Vegas. Number 7, Gonzaga, who's already been beaten twice this year, quite unusual at this time of the season, playing against Connecticut, who had suffered 3 straight losses. Back-to-back national champions, Connecticut really thought that they had a great shot. Dropped down to rank 25th right now. They just make the top 25. But there was a problem with why Connecticut lost those games. Gonzaga, of course, got crushed by Kentucky. And, well, not crushed. They beat 90-89, and that was a game where we had Kentucky. And they lost as a 15-point favorite, Scott, to West Virginia. Now Gonzaga's going to Connecticut. The game should be close to a pick-em, I assume. How do you see the Huskies and the Bulldogs?
Well, I respect both of these teams. Gonzaga being ranked 8th, I think that's a bit happy. I've seen anywhere from 18th to 25th for UConn, defending 2-time champion. They played some tough competition. They didn't do very well on the road, the Maui Invitational. Maybe the Maui nightlife got into their heads a little bit. But I like UConn in this contest because of, again, defense. We're talking about a team that doesn't have 2 to 3 to 4 blocks per contest. They average 7+ blocks per game. So they've got a couple of studs on the inside as rim protectors. Now, the thing I do like about Gonzaga is defensively, they average 8 steals per contest. So when you talk about this could be a coin toss, pick-em type contest, I think UConn is a little bit better than their record. They are proven. They know what it takes to win. I like their coach. He's kind of an emotional wreck at times, but the bottom line is the players buy into it and they play hard for the guy. And as a coach, that's really all you can ask for. I like UConn.
I don't blame you at all. I mean, they've beaten this team the last 2 times they played them. One of them in the NCAA tournament, one of them by 28 points, the other by 13. So they've won handily. But, you know, there's something to be noted about UConn's losses to Memphis, Colorado, and Dayton, who isn't bad at all. Their big guy was out in 2 of those games. Caravan, he comes back in and boom, they beat Baylor and Texas. And the impressive win to me was beating Texas, who also has, like UCLA, one of the best defenses in the country, very well coached. So, you know, this UConn at home here seems to have their number after having lost 3 straight games and bouncing back and beating Baylor and Texas. I think the Huskies are in prime position to beat the Bulldogs. So there you are. You have winnerscircle.net. We are right here at gamblersworld.net. We're bringing you a winner's circle. And I have Sean Pritchard right here, who is one of the top Sean Pritchard. If I say this one more time, I'm telling you, we're going to start playing Russian roulette here. This is Scott Pritchard. I apologize, Scott. I'm telling you, I'm dealing with Sean every day, and the S and the S get to me. And I apologize to you out there as well. But this is gamblersworld.net. You can get Mr. Pritchard's top selections on the site. Log on, follow the links, become a winner, find out how a champion analyzes games. And of course, I am Chip Chirimbes as well. Incredible streak right now in college basketball as well as the NBA. Log on, follow the buy links, become a big gamblersworld.net winner. And I'd like to thank you once again, Scott, and I apologize for misnaming you continuously. And I hope you don't hold this against me as I continue to do this throughout the new year, because I don't see me making any adjustments. I'm sorry, my friend. But don't forget, give us a like, subscribe. We'll be back here each and every week with a college analysis. And don't forget to watch The Daily Show here on gamblersworld.net, where you have a number of other Las Vegas handicappers, the top handicapping talent in the country, right here at gamblersworld.net. We have more winners, we have more contest winners, and we put out more winners on a daily basis than anyone else. So log on, have a great weekend out there, and remember to bet with your head and not over it, as they say in New York, and be a big game winner. Good luck to everyone out there. Thank you very much, Scott. I'll see you next week, hopefully.
Sounds good. Great time to be in Vegas. Saturday, I'm going to go to T-Mobile Arena to see the NBA Cup semifinals. Excited about that. And then Monday night, Raiders will lose another game to the Falcons. I'm going to that game. So it's great that you and I are blessed and fortunate to live in the sports betting capital of the world. So I love being on the show. Thanks for having me, Chip, and keep up the good work, my man.
Hey, thank you, and hope to see you again soon, and hope to have some winners this weekend for all of us. So there you go. Have a great week, everyone.